this video we're going to be looking into UV editing. So for that there are multiple ways. One is like you go to the shading, and then when the object is selected, you can actually, first of all you need to go to the edit mode, and then in the view, sorry, over here you can open up the UV editor. You can sync, once opening the UV editor, you can sync this editor with the object. In order to do that, you would click on this one which says UV sync selection. So if you are selecting anything over here, correspondingly or exactly like that, it's gonna get selected on this editor too. So you can, if you click A to select all the vertices, all of them are gonna get selected in our UV editor. Same goes here. You can select edges here, and then those edges are gonna be selected in the UV editor. Another way of uh, working with the UV editor is going to the UV editor and doing kind of similar stuff over here. This gives you like expanded views, and it's kind of like sometimes this one is nicer, but sometimes when you are working on the images and you want to play with the images, this works too. And actually this one could be a better choice when bringing in the images and kind of playing with the UV editor at the same time is the thing you want to do. So for the purpose of demonstration, we're going to be bringing in an image here. Right, once you bring in an image, right, and we want to select all of it. So what I just did is clicked A in order to select everything, the complete object. Okay, now you would notice that the UV editor is showing us that how it's gonna unwrap the image on the box, and how you're gonna how this one is gonna look, right? So if you see this thing here, if I click it, it does bring the move, rotate, and like the basic transform tools. It does bring that, right? So if I do again A in order to select everything, you can move the image in order to select what exactly you wanna unwrap, like what part of the image you wanna unwrap onto this object. And you would have noticed that this cube has not taken the effect we are seeing here, although we are in sync and everything. This is because we haven't joined the color with the base color of the object. Now if you move it, again selecting all of it, moving it, you would notice that you can actually move the image like that. Then you can rotate it in order to get different other result. You can also, I'm gonna undo that, you can also scale it. Sometimes what you want is to have like multiple repeated sections. You can zoom in and zoom out in order to see what's going on, and you would see that we can have the same image over and over again uh, on it in term like in a repeated fashion. Okay, we are zooming in again. We are trying to do, so we were here, right? Nice. Okay, these are a few of the things, right? And then what else we wanted to cover is, again, yeah, now you can also play. So we did that, we can scale it, but we don't have to scale everything altogether. We may want to do something with these four sides, right? So I selected these four and I removed this one, right? And now you want to scale that. So you would notice that what is happening is like this image has everything, whereas the rest are stretched out and kind of distorted, right? So yes, we can do that. You can rotate it too, again depending on what is the intention here. Oh, this is the transform, sorry about that. So we were saying this, and this, and we want to rotate it. You can do all sorts of things with them. Nice. Okay, now, okay, so now the other thing, or the last thing in this video I wanted to cover is the UV editing. So you can actually select, let's say you have it and you wanna do different kind of projections based on some algorithms. So you can actually say, okay, I want to do some projections on that, like the smart UV projection, um, and cube projection, cylinder projection, those kind of things, right? You can unwrap it, right? And then the other thing which we can do is like we can reset it. But the other thing we can do is like we can actually define our own seams where we want the UV editing to flatten the design, and then we can play with it. So let's say if I have this selected and this selected, right, and you can even see what exactly you are trying to select, right, and you have this selected and this selected, right, you have four of these selected, and you go and say mark seam, and then you say unwrap. So you would notice that we remove the, so our selection is very different now. So we had one bigger selection where we mark the seam, and then we have the rest of the selection as it is, right? So we can actually say reset. uh, yeah, so maybe you want to do some other seams where, like, because this is, again, remember this is a cube, so it has some limitations on how it's going to unwrap, right? So you can, if it is a cylinder, if it is another kind of object, it would be unwrapping differently. So but you can actually, again, if you want to you want to unwrap it differently, what you are seeing here, you can actually select the you can actually select the edges and then uh, mark seam, or even if you want to clear the seam, right? So you can go ahead and clear the seam too if you want to seam it from another side. Yep. So these were the things I wanted to cover.